Local self-government in Karnataka. In this essay, we will take a look at the historical evolution of Panchayat Raj institutions, various laws, acts, and institutional setup, and the functions of local self-governments at various levels in the state. Let us start with a brief historical background. From the beginning, Karnataka has imbibed a rich and incessant heritage of self-governing civic institutions. It was in keeping in harmony with the changing socio-economic and political conditions in the course of history of the state. In ancient Karnataka, the local bodies were called Uru or town or Okkalu, that is for residents, Praje, subjects, Praja Samudra, that is congregation of subjects, Uru 18 Jati, that is 18 communities of villages, etc. These were all the common terms existed then in context of the local self-governing bodies. In an Agrahara village, the assembly of Mahajans, that is the heads of the scholarly Brahmin families, served as a village councils. They looked after irrigation facilities, took care of the temples, other local affairs, and settled minor disputes in the village. The villages were grouped themselves into Nadu, and the assembly was also known as Nadu. By about 10th century, Nadu emerged as the status of modern Mandal or the Taluka Panchayat. They comprised of heads of constituent villages as their representatives. The association of Nadus was known as Mahanadu, and it consisted of the representatives of villages, towns, merchant guilds, officials, etc. Mahanadu now can be compared to modern Jilla Panchayat, and it was the highest local assembly in the ancient times. All these assemblies were entrusted with undertaking socio-economic, religious, and cultural activities. They had their own financial resources as well. They also acted as trustees of public properties and endowments. The assembly of the towns, which was founded by the enterprising merchants, were known as Nagara or Pattana, and the head was known as Pattana Shetty or Pattana Swami. Their number depended on the size of the town. Now, the government's interference was evident when these bodies mismanaged their affairs in many cases. The advent of the British rule in India also brought several mixed changes in the working of these institutions. Efforts were made to bring back the lost glory of the ancient village communities by the Indian leaders like Tilak, Feroz Shah Mehta, Gandhiji, and others. The real development of the villages in the modern sense was started in 1863 by passing Act called Village Sanitation Act in many provinces, and that included the princely state of Mysuru. In different parts of integrated areas of Karnataka, it was introduced. Local self-government activities were started in different times. The princely state Mysore constituted municipal committees on an experimental basis in 1862, and it began with the Mysuru and Bengaluru municipal committees. The local boards, that is district boards and taluka boards, for development of rural areas actually came into being for the first time in 1919. In the former Bombay Karnataka areas, local bodies were created under the East India Company Act in Belgavi, Nippani in 1854, Hubballi and Dharwad in 1856. Subsequently, municipalities were constituted under the Bombay District Municipalities Act of 1901, Bombay Borough Municipalities Act 1925, Town Improvement Act of 1865 that was for the municipalities, and Panchayat boards were also first started for a single or group of villages under the same Act of 1884. Now let us see the changes that occurred after 1956. Soon after independence and the urban growth started increasing, there was an increase in the urban migration. The percentage of the urban population to the total population of the state had gone up. The number of towns and cities in the state also increased at a rapid rate from 24.5% in 1971 to nearly 35% in 2011 as seen in the Census of India. Likewise, the number of cities and urban agglomerations also increased from 12 in 1971 to 22 in 1991 itself. It was municipal law known as the Karnataka Municipalities Act of 1964. It saw major changes in the municipal administration in the state. It initiated many changes. These were comprehensive, uniform, and applicable to the entire state. Many more radical changes have been brought into the force in the constitution and the modus operandi of municipal administration in the state as well. As a result, more seats have been reserved for the scheduled caste and scheduled communities and women also. Liberal development grants are given by the state for municipalities for undertaking the works like water supply, sanitation, etc. Every municipality was expected to reserve 18% of its budget expenditure for the upliftment measures, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. There are 5 categories of urban local bodies in the state. 1. City Municipal Corporation, that is Mahanagarapalikhe. 2. City Municipal Councils. 3. Town Municipal Councils. 4. Notified Area Committees. 5. Sanitary Boards. Then came the Karnataka Municipal Corporation Act of 1976, which governed the municipal corporation in the state. And this act was a comprehensive act which gave a certain power to the state government for the supervision of various municipal corporations in the state. At present, there are 6 municipal corporations in the state, namely Bengaluru, Hubballi, Dharwad, Mysuru, Belagavi, Mangaluru, Kalaburgi, Shivamogga, Bhadravati Corporation. The number of city municipalities is 19 and the town municipalities is around 135. There are 15 notified area committees. At present, there is only one cantonment board that is in existence in the state, that is the Cantonment Board for Belagavi, which was constituted way back in 1832. It is administered by the Cantonment Act of 1924 of the central government. There is a separate Directorate of Municipal Administration for municipal administration affairs in the state. It coordinates the functional activities of the municipalities in the state. There are special development city town authorities constituted for the development of all important district headquartered towns in the state. The activities like town planning, water supply, housing, sewerage, slums, etc. are undertaken in these towns. Karnataka is one among the 16 states in the country to abolish octroi way back in 1979. Karnataka is also the first state in the country to impose a ban by legislation on carrying night soil on head by bhangis, that is scavengers. It was banned way back in 1973. Now we'll talk about the Panchayat Raj institutions in the present times. During the course of 6 decades, that is 1952 to 2013, radical changes have been brought into practice in the concept, structure, constitution and modus operandi of Panchayat Raj institutions. The practice in Karnataka, by enacting progressive legislations by the successive governments in the power, has helped to translate the concept of decentralization and Grama Swarajya into a reality. After reorganization of the state, a unified comprehensive Panchayat Raj Act known as Karnataka Local Boards and Village Panchayats Act of 1959 came into being from 1960. Under this act, village panchayats at the village level, taluka development boards at the taluka level, and the district development councils for each district were constituted. Under the above 3-tier system of administration, only the village panchayats and the taluka development boards had elected representatives. The district development councils were merely advisory bodies. They comprised of government officials of the development works and the schemes were part of it, and there were non-official members also. In the above system, most of the rural development works and the schemes were channelized through taluka development boards. Village panchayats worked under the control of the taluka development boards. In order to have a decentralization in administration at the mandal level, increased people's participation in the process of development was necessary. The earlier Act of 1959 was replaced by a new act known as Karnataka Jilla Parishads, Taluka Panchayat Samitis, Mandal Panchayatis and Nyaya Panchayatis Act in 1983. This act came into effect from 1985. The Nyaya Panchayats that was included in the act have not come into existence. There has been a further development by the introduction of the Karnataka Panchayat Raj Act of 1993. In order to further strengthen the functioning of the rural Panchayati Raj institutions in the state by the decentralization at appropriate level and to improve the quality of the functioning, and it aims to provide a social justice by means of extending additional reservation facilities to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes communities, that is to an extent of 23% together, women and other backward classes to an extent of 33%. The new act also contemplates the reservation of seats for the chairpersons by rotation. The new act came into being in 1993. It is a comprehensive enactment and it established a three-tier Panchayat Raj system in the state with elected bodies at the village, taluk and district levels. It was enacted keeping in view of the 73rd Constitution Amendment relating to Panchayats. This act ensures a greater participation of people and more effective implementation of rural development programs. Under this new act, there will be a Gram Panchayat for a village or a group of villages, and at the Taluka and Jilla Panchayats at the district levels as well. All three institutions will have elected representatives, and there is no provision for nomination by the government to any of these councils. Karnataka is the first state in the country to enact a new Panchayat Raj Act, and it incorporates all provisions of the 73rd Amendment to the Constitution. In this new act, provision has been made for setting up a district planning committee as well. It has been reported that in the elections held in Panchayat Raj institutions, women secured as high as 40% representations in the Taluka Panchayats and 36% in Jilla Panchayats, and the SC and ST communities got 18% and 5% respectively. The backward caste in A category also got 27% in both the bodies of Taluka and Jilla Panchayats.